Once upon a time, in a bustling neighborhood, a little kitty cat named Whiskers woke up to the chirping of birds. As the first rays of sunlight streamed through the window, Whiskers stretched out her tiny paws, giving a soft yawn. Her fur, as soft as a feather, shimmered in the morning light, and her whiskers twitched with excitement. Rising on her small, fluffy paws, she hopped off her cozy bed and made her way to the garden. The garden was her favorite spot, filled with colorful butterflies and blooming flowers. The aroma of fresh dew on the leaves filled the air. Whiskers loved to chase after the butterflies, play hide and seek among the flowers, and nap under the shade of the big old tree. As the sun began to climb higher into the sky, Whiskers, with her bright, gleaming eyes, was ready to start her day full of adventures. With a spring in her step, Whiskers started her day, ready to explore the world. Her whiskers twitched with excitement as she set off on her daily adventure. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and Whiskers was ready to play. First on her list, a game of chase with the flitting butterflies. Like a flash, she darted through the grass, her eyes sparkling with delight as the butterflies fluttered just beyond her reach. Oh, how she loved the thrill of the chase! Next, she set her sights on the tallest tree in the yard. With a running start, she leaped onto the trunk, her sharp claws digging into the bark. Up, up, up she climbed, her heart pounding with exhilaration. From the highest branch, she looked out over her kingdom, feeling like the queen of the world. And then, with a daring leap and a graceful landing, she was back on solid ground, her tail held high in victory. But Whiskers' adventure wasn't over yet. She spotted a swirl of leaves dancing in the wind. With a mischievous glint in her eyes, she pounced into the midst of the swirling leaves, sending them flying in all directions. She leaped and twirled, her fur rippling in the breeze, her laughter echoing through the yard. Every leap, every chase, every climb was a new adventure for Whiskers. Each moment was filled with joy and excitement, a testament to her never-ending curiosity and zest for life. She was a tiny explorer in a big world, and she couldn't get enough of it. But all good things must come to an end, and Whiskers was no exception. After a day of chasing butterflies, climbing trees, and playing with falling leaves, she was ready for a little break. Her paws were tired, her eyes were drooping, and her heart was full of happiness. She had conquered the world, and now it was time to rest. Tired but happy, Whiskers decided it was time for a little break. As Whiskers rested under the shade of a large tree, she heard a soft whimper from a bush nearby. The sound was faint, barely a whisper on the wind, but to Whiskers it was as clear as a bell. Her ears twitched, her tail flicked, and her eyes narrowed with curiosity. Could it be a friend in need, or perhaps a new adventure awaited her? With a cat-like grace, she rose from her resting spot and approached the source of the noise. Each step was careful, quiet, as if she were walking on a cloud. The whimpering grew louder and more desperate, quickening Whiskers' pace. It was not a sound of joy or playfulness, but one of fear and distress, the kind of sound that tugged at Whiskers' heartstrings. As she pushed through the dense foliage, a small, scared puppy came into view. Its fur was matted and dirty, its eyes wide with fear. It was stuck in the thorny bush, trembling like a leaf in the wind. Its tiny tail was tucked between its legs, a clear sign of its apprehension. Whiskers' heart swelled with sympathy. She knew she had to do something. The puppy whimpered again, its eyes meeting Whiskers'. It was a silent plea for help, one that Whiskers could not ignore. She remembered her own fears, her own adventures, and knew that she could not leave the puppy to face this ordeal alone. The puppy was scared, alone, and in need of a friend. And Whiskers, with her courageous heart and adventurous spirit, knew that she was that friend. Whiskers approached the puppy, her tail held high as a sign of peace. The puppy's eyes lit up with hope, its tail wagging ever so slightly. Whiskers knew that this was a moment of trust, a moment of friendship. With a soft purr, she reassured the puppy that help was on the way. With a brave heart, Whiskers decided to help the little puppy. It was an unexpected encounter, but one that sparked a new adventure and a new friendship. And so, Whiskers and the puppy began their journey side by side, ready to face whatever challenges came their way. Taking a deep breath, Whiskers approached the bush carefully. She knew that this was no ordinary task. This was a rescue mission, and she was the hero. She had to be brave, not just for herself, but for the little puppy trapped in the thorny bush. Whiskers was a clever kitty. She knew she couldn't just rush into the bush. She had to have a plan. And so, she sat back on her haunches, studying the bush, the thorns, and the little puppy with her emerald green eyes. She noticed a small gap in the thorns, just big enough for her to squeeze through. That was her entry point. The kitty cat slowly moved towards the bush, her heart pounding in her chest. She could hear the whimpers of the puppy growing louder, filling her with determination. She reached the bush and, with a burst of courage, she leaped into the gap. Inside the bush, it was dark and prickly. Whiskers could feel the thorns scratching against her soft fur, but she didn't let that stop her. She moved forward, her eyes on the scared little puppy. The puppy looked at her with wide, hopeful eyes, and Whiskers knew she couldn't let him down. It was a struggle, moving through the thorny bush. Each step was a challenge, each movement brought a new scratch. But Whiskers was a brave kitty. She pushed on, her determination unwavering. She reached the puppy and, with a soft purr, tried to comfort him. She then began to push against the thorny branches, trying to make a path for the puppy to escape. It was a tense moment. Whiskers pushed and pushed, struggling against the thorns. She could feel her energy waning, but she didn't give up. She kept pushing, kept struggling, her eyes never leaving the little puppy. And then, with a burst of strength, Whiskers made a final push. The thorny branches gave way, creating a small opening. The puppy, seeing the path to freedom, scampered out of the bush, his tail wagging in joy. With one final push, Whiskers managed to free the little puppy. And in that moment, Whiskers knew that she had not only saved the puppy, but also found a new friend. Relieved and happy, the puppy wagged his tail and licked Whiskers' face. In the glow of their newfound friendship, the afternoon slipped away unnoticed. Whiskers, the adventurous kitty, and the puppy, who Whiskers had just named Paws, found themselves engaged in a dance of camaraderie. They chased their shadows, played hide-and-seek among the flowers, and shared stories of their little adventures. The air was filled with their laughter and the sound of their playful banter, creating an atmosphere that was nothing short of heartwarming. Their friendship was like a beautiful melody, harmonious and sweet. It was as if they had known each other for a lifetime. Such was the depth of their connection. They understood each other's language, comforted each other, and shared a bond that was pure and innocent. Whiskers and Paws had become the best of friends, their friendship as vibrant and joyful as a rainbow after a soft summer rain. As they played, they discovered the simple joys of friendship. They learned that it was not about who was the fastest or the strongest, but about enjoying the moment together. They found happiness in the simple act of sharing, whether it was a game, a story, or a laugh. They discovered that friendship was about being there for each other, come rain or shine. Their friendship was a beautiful reminder of the magic that happens when hearts connect. It was a testament to the power of kindness and the beauty of connection. It was a story of an unlikely friendship between a kitty and a puppy, a friendship that blossomed out of a chance encounter and thrived on their shared love for adventure. As the sun began to set, Whiskers and her new friend, now named Paws, returned home, promising to meet again the next day. Their hearts were full of joy, and their faces beamed with the promise of many more adventures together. They knew that their friendship was just the beginning of a beautiful journey, a journey that they were excited to embark on together. Tired but content, Whiskers curled up in her cozy bed, ready for a good night's sleep. The fluffy blanket felt warm against her fur, reminding her of the comfort of home. As she closed her eyes, images of the day danced behind her eyelids. She saw herself bravely facing the unexpected challenges, standing up to her fears, and making a new friend. She felt a sense of pride swell within her. She had been brave, she had been kind, and look where it had led her. A smile spread across her tiny face as she thought about Paws. What a wonderful friend she had made today. They had laughed, they had played, and they had shared an adventure. She felt her eyelids getting heavy, her tiny heart full of contentment. As Whiskers drifted off to sleep, she knew that she had not only made a new friend, but also learned the value of bravery and kindness. And that, my dear friends, is the end of our story for today. Remember, always be brave, kind, and you will surely find your own adventures. Subscribe to this channel, share the enchantment with friends, and stay tuned for more. Don't miss the next adventure.